Alright, first off, thank you guys for all these subscriptions and all the positive feedback for Let's Just Live. The problem is that I don't know how to respond to this. Subscriptions usually mean that you want more of the same thing. But that's the thing. What is it that you guys want more of? Is it more Rwby stuff, or do you just want more remixes? I can provide either or, so it doesn't really matter for me. Let me know in the comments below of what kind of content you guys want. If you guys want me to make more Rwby stuff, if you guys want me to do more remixes, or if you just want me to do whatever. Leave a comment below. Until that point, I do have a Rwby theory that I kind of entertain, and I'm going to share it with the rest of you. The theory is that Summer Rose, Rwby's mom, is actually a faunus, and not only that, she created a white Fang. Now, unfortunately, this is just a guess that someone has made, and thus there's not a lot of proof that suggests that this theory is true. The most we have to go for is the fact that Summer always wears her hood, as a means to hide her ears, much like how Blake wears a bow. And that because her hood's white, it kind of connects her to the white Fang because they're also the white Fang. That said, I am going to point out why I entertained this theory. It's been established that the White Fang was a peaceful organization meant to foster the relationship between humans and faunus, and that at some point later on, the White Fang turned into this terrorist organization. It could be that the shift between them being peaceful and them being aggressive is tied to Summer Rose's disappearance. It would make sense if the leader disappears and somebody else, i.e. Sienna Khan, took their place. You could even give the notion that they were responsible for the disappearance in a means to grab their power. Sound familiar, guys? This can also connect Rwby and Blake together. Rwby and Blake don't really have a lot of interaction to go on, so being connected by the fact that Rwby's mom is a faunus and also created a white Fang could actually bring them together. It would also tie Rwby and, by extension, Yang to the White Fang story in a way that Weiss and Blake were, the White Fang having an important role in their backstory. The most interaction between Rwby and Yang with the White Fang were mainly just conflicts. Rwby got kidnapped by the White Fang, and Yang got her arm chopped off by one of their lieutenants. By having their mom be related to the White Fang in some way, shape, or form, it would tie the two siblings in a way that Blake and Weiss were tied, and thus they'd get more involvement in the storyline when White Fang comes up. And now, before I bring up why this theory would not hold water, I do want to point out something. In episode 21 of Rwby Chibi, Rwby goes up to Weiss and gives her a friendship bracelet, which is actually a handcuff. But the weird thing is, when she puts on the handcuff, Rwby shakes her head and starts panting like a dog. Now, what makes this weird is that this sketch was actually based off a fan comic. And the fan comic has the same thing where it's like, oh, I made friendship bracelets, slaps on a handcuff, but instead of panting like a dog, Rwby's jumping up and down. Now, Rwby Chibi has changed up some of the things for the other sketches, but it's sort of weird how they changed Rwby going up and down, which is something very characteristically for Rwby, into panting like a dog. Is this supposed to hint towards her faunus nature? I mean, it's established that when a faunus and a human get together and reproduce, the offspring would either be a faunus or a human, no in between. So Rwby is full-on human. But this does leave on the idea that perhaps she adopted a faunus trait, the panting, or her excited nature, one or the other. And now, why I wouldn't really want to entertain this theory all that much? It just sort of ties Summer Rose way too much. We've established that Summer Rose is a silver-eyed warrior, and Cinder's scarring at the hands of Rwby's silver eyes gives the notion that Summer can't also be a maiden. While making her a faunus would make some sort of sense, it would also not make sense in the way that she'd have way too many identities. So she's not only a silver-eyed warrior, but she's also the leader of the White Fang. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like if you established Minato from Naruto, Naruto's dad, as not only the Hokage, but also part Uchiha, or Bardock from Dragon Ball Z as not only a Saiyan, but also a Namekian. It just doesn't really add up, but the other idea is that because of her career as a White Fang, this would mean she had to pull double duty with Team Stark, being Ruby's mom, all of that crap. And not only that, but it's been implied that Blake has been with the White Fang since the very beginning. Not only that, but Summer Rose and Ruby Rose are literally spitting images of each other. So, wouldn't there be like a little notion where Blake would be like, hey, Ruby, you kinda look like this girl I used to know? Although that is saying a lot, that's implying that Blake has seen the leader of the White Fang, but given how the White Fang is supposed to be this peaceful organization before they turned evil and all that, I would definitely see the leader being involved in like a lot of these peaceful protests or whatever. I don't know, it's probably just me thinking this. So what are your thoughts? Is Summer Rose a Faunus? Is she the leader of the White Fang? Or is she not? Leave your comments below, and until then, adios amigos!